yang bagus kan? Energi lagi kuat, Alhamdulillah. Alright, seterusnya kita sebenarnya untuk forum perdana, kita teruskan dengan forum perdana. Untuk forum perdana ni Alhamdulillah satu topik yang sangat menarik ya kepada dai-dai, para dai kita yang akan meneruskan perjuangan menyampaikan Islam kepada masyarakat dan juga keluarga kita ya. So untuk forum perdana ini kita ada tiga ahli panelis yang sangat hebat. Saya sebenarnya rasa sangat kerdil. Ya, sebab saya baru 4-5 tahun menyampaikan Islam dan berdakwah, tetapi mereka ni dah 20 tahun, ada yang memang veteran yang dah lama menyampaikan Islam. So kita dapatkan ilmu daripada mereka. Yang pertama saya ingin panggil ke stage ya, ke pentas ini siapa dulu? Okey, kita mempersilakan Haji Ayub Abdul Rahman daripada Sarawak. Beri tepukan kepada Haji Ayub. Nanti saya akan kenalkan siapa dia ya, insya-Allah. Yang kedua ialah Brother Yusof Chambers. Sir, baru dapat pangkat Sir tadi. Masya-Allah. Yang ketiga ialah Brother Firdaus Wong. Dipersilakan. Alhamdulillah. Semua dah sedia ya. Barisan panelis kita dah sedia. Alhamdulillah. So hari ini topik dia ialah dakwah efektif. Ya, dakwah efektif ni sesuatu yang kita sebagai dai, ya, kita sebagai pendakwah, ya, boleh mendapat ilmu daripada apa yang mereka akan menyampaikan hari ini. Alhamdulillah. Dan juga saya ingin memperkenalkan mereka. Mungkin daripada sebelah sana Haji Ayub, ya, mungkin saya pun baru kenal dia, baru tahu dia, baru jumpa dia hari ini ya Haji Ayub. Baru hari ini kita jumpa. Haji Ayub ya, dia sebenarnya daripada Sarawak, menyampaikan di Sarawak. Nama asalnya ialah Anthony Sami Perumal. Correct ah? You're a Christian before, brother. Alhamdulillah. Ya, now you're a Muslim. Masya-Allah. Okey, panjang juga, Perumal Vaigulam. Okey, memeluk agama Islam pada tahun 1978, correct? 1989 dia menyertai dakwah training di Islamabad, Pakistan, dakwah training di Mumbai, India, dan aktif dakwah under Mobile Medical Clinic with Hikmah Sarawak. Alhamdulillah. Dan Yusof Chamber, saya rasa ramai daripada kita kenal. Tadi dah dengar tadi dah kenal kan, bro? Sir Yusof Chamber dah kenal lah tadi ya. Siapa yang belum kenal dia? Belum lagi. Okey, kita kenalkan balik. Alhamdulillah. Okey, bro Yusof Chamber is a British. Ini dalam bahasa Inggeris ke ya. Is a British Islamic speaker and lecturer. He's a revert to Islam, then was born in Woking, Surrey in UK, daripada UK ya. Yusof have been involved with a number of leading Muslim organisation di UK dan juga abroad. This have include Peace TV, dia involved dengan Peace TV, Muslim Aid, Al-Juma Magazine, Islam Channel, Unity TV, dan juga presented the Part of Guidance, a revert interview program. Banyak kerja beliau, dan beliau juga ialah co-founder bagi AERA International ya. Alhamdulillah. Dan juga yang last kali sebelah saya Firdaus Wong. Siapa tak kenal dia? Siapa kenal dia? Okey. Ini semua tak kenal ni. Brother Syakiri tak kenal lah. Masya Allah. Okey. So Brother Firdaus Wong. Ini memang kalau nak cerita pasal dia banyaklah. Nama penuh dia Firdaus Wong Wai Hun. Sebenarnya saya mengikuti banyak daripada bila cerita pasal Brother Firdaus ni, saya selalu teringat pasal street dakwah. Ya, bila dengar pasal Firdaus Wong last time, bila saya tengok buka internet, buka YouTube selalu cerita pasal macam mana dia berdakwah di medan di medan di street, dakwah dan sebagainya. Sesuatu yang kita boleh ambil sesuatu ilmu hari ini, ya. Alhamdulillah. Beliau memeluk agama Islam pada tahun 2005. Oh, 2015 dekat 2005. Okay. President and founder of MRM, Multiracial Reverted Muslim. Dia juga protege kepada Dr. Zakir Naik. Ya, banyak dia punya tu. Dia juga pernah dakwah di Afrika dan beberapa negeri, ya. Saya tak nak panjangkan sebab dia memang ramai orang kenal dia. Mungkin nanti beliau boleh kongsikan, insya-Allah. Okey. Hari ini kalau kita cerita pasal dakwah efektif, dia sangat berkesan kepada kita sendiri sebagai dai, sebagai pendakwah. Ya, saya sendiri juga. Ya, kalau kita tengok dakwah efektif ni macam-macam cabang dia. Ya, cabang dia bukan saja kita menyampaikan di sisi keluarga kita, di kawasan kita, dengan juga etnik, bangsa, macam-macam beza, betul tak? Ya, ada yang datang daripada Sabah, Sarawak yang menyampaikan di sana, ada di Terengganu, di seluruh Malaysia. Hari ini kita akan dapatkan daripada mereka. Ya, kita ada dua pusingan. Pusingan pertama, ya, dengan pusingan kedua. Pusingan pertama kita akan memberi 10 minit dan juga pusingan kedua 20 minit. It's okay, ya. Probably for your question I'll ask you in English, inshallah, and Brother Firdaus will also explain, inshallah. Okay. So soalan pertama dia, adakah anda mula? Bersedia? Bersedia tak? Ya. Ya, macam tu lah. Semangat sikit. Okey, soalan pertama kepada Haji Ayub. Ya. Pada pendapat anda, apakah yang dimaksudkan dakwah efektif? Especially kaitkan dengan kawasan Haji Ayub di Sarawak. Ya, bagaimana Haji Ayub menyampaikan dakwah di Sarawak? Dipersilakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajmain. Thank you, moderator, fellow panelists, brothers and sisters in Islam. The first thing that comes to me, effective dakwah. When I first went to Pakistan, I studied how they do dakwah in big cities. Boleh cakap bahasa Inggeris? Yes, boleh. Campur. Okay. Tamil kah?
Tamil pun boleh, tapi kalau Tamil kena cakap Cina juga, sebab kita ada audience di kalangan sahabat Cina kita. Boleh, ya, Haji?
German boleh lah.
German boleh. Okay.
Thailand tak dapat. Anyway, so when I went to Pakistan 1989, I learned how to do dawah in big cities, Islamabad, Lahore, Karachi. When I come back, I was sent to Kuching. Have you heard of Kuching? Sarawak. Huh? So I was asked by the medical doctor, you do dakwah to rural areas. Pergi ke kawasan pedalaman, pergi ke UK. Not your UK, Ulu Kapit. Pergi ke LA. Lubuk Antu. And a few other places. All these have very nice names, but they are not outside of Sarawak. They are within Sarawak. Kadang-kadang 3 jam, kadang-kadang 4 jam pakai kereta. Zaman dulu kali pertama saya buat dakwah, saya pakai helikopter sebab mereka fikir ini flying doctor. Saya sikit bawa, bukan doktor. Saya MLSO, Medical Laboratory Scientific Officer. Tapi saya buat kerja dakwah, bawa ubat. So orang ramai datang. Apabila dengar saya datang, ramai orang datang. Bukan kerana mau dengar ceramah, dia mau minta ubat free. Saya punya ubat, saya order dari Jerman. Saya ada kontak dengan Christian Mission, so saya guna nama Anthony. Dapat ubat free, zaman dulu lah. So mereka datang. So that is the time I start doing dakwah, but not so effective. Selepas itu, saya diberi peluang untuk belajar dakwah di Mumbai, India, dengan Bro Syakiri, dengan Bro Daniel Hakim Boy. Kami tiga-tiga pergi, come back alive. Actually 5 went, 3 only come back. Sacrifice, korban there. Before Modi already they start sacrifice. Ini rakaman lah. Yo. Pochi. Okay. So, I come back and I started rethinking how to do da'wah. Then I realized giving ceramah attracts a lot of people. People whom I don't know, they just come from all over. Asal dia dengar, ini protege brother Zakir Naik, semua datang. So it became very popular. Then I rethought, this one is not da'wah. What I am doing is just talking in the masjid. These are all Muslims. I am not bringing Islam to them, they are already Muslims. Then recently, 3 years ago, I went again, this time to Bangladesh. 4 months. I come back. This time now what I'm doing is a bit different. I go to a village, try to find a surau. I stay there for 3 days. I bring minimum 5 people. One must be able to cook very well. The other one must be able to repair the surau or mosque. He is good in plumbing, he must be good in electrical work. And then the other 3 go house to house, knocking the door, asking children to come to the masjid. Whether they are Muslims or non-Muslims, they are all invited. Come, and after little bit of activities, we give them good food. That is very important. In Sarawak, very, very important. You be good to the children. Next day, you tell them before they go, tomorrow you bring your mother. Ask her to bring periuk, container, because we are going to cook extra food. So next day, the mother comes with the children and we feed them. Talk little, but feed them good food. Last day, we tell them, tomorrow, last day, farewell dinner. Please bring your father along. And anyone who comes and mention the name of their family who have passed away, they must give the name personally. Then we have Tahlil Perdana. This one, most of the suraus, most of the masjid, full. Full until they are standing outside. Our master cook is cooking kambing. That's why I have problem. That day I went to IJN, they have to pasang 2 stand. Because every time I do this, I also enjoy the food. Most of the time it's kambing lah. So this is how we go village to village. And I do it minimum 3 days every month. In between, I do my usual mobile medical clinic. So I find by doing this, more and more people are interested. You see, these people in the rural areas have never seen the Quran. They have never heard about hadith. What they see is these few people going there, offering food, talking to them nicely, just not smile alone, but give something more than just a smile. And we have many who embrace Islam. But there in Sarawak, we are not supposed to give publicity. So I'm not going to mention the number of people. Every visit we go, we bring them to Islam, because that is not necessary. Okay? Is that enough for now? Cukup.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Haji Ayub. Kat belakang boleh dengar? Saya dengar ada orang mesej tak dengar kat belakang. Boleh dengar ke? Boleh, belakang. Angkat tangan lah belakang. Boleh ya? Alhamdulillah. Okey, beri tepukan pada Haji Ayub tadi, Alhamdulillah. Satu pendekatan dakwah ya, definisi dakwah dan metod dakwah yang beliau bawakan dan pernah lalui di kawasan ataupun di Sarawak ya. Suatu yang memang bagus dan menakjubkan juga. Seperti saya pun, saya tak pernah pergi Sabah Sarawak. Ya, semua kat Semenanjung saja. So sesuatu yang kita boleh ambil balik bila mungkin satu hari nanti kita singgah kat Sabah ke kat Sarawak ya. Alhamdulillah. Okey, soalan seterusnya kita beralih kepada panelis kedua, iaitu Brother Chambers. Okay, Yusof Chambers. Soalan kedua, ya, your second question. Yang ni saya akan tanya dalam bahasa English. So bila brother menjawab, nanti saya akan huraikan atau Brother Firdaus akan huraikan. Okay, your question for you. The first question is, what is the effective method of Dakwah that since you are in UK right now? Yeah, so you have been traveling all over. Because a lot of people here, we have been exposed to too many Dakwah methods in Malaysia, from Firdaus Wong, from many other dais around. So could you share with us, what is the effective Dakwah methods that you use in the UK that can be used as well in Malaysia, inshallah?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. MashaAllah, it's great to see all of you again. Second time I'm seeing you, MashaAllah. Beautiful faces, alhamdulillah. And lots of you, which is great to see. And all new Muslims, fantastic. So you guys know the answer to the question better than I do, because you're very fresh in the deen. I'm 28 years old. How old is he? You're 28? Yeah, I'm 28. How old are you? How old are you?
14.
14, baby. Sheikh. 27. You mean you're 2 and you're 7 or 27? Okay. So you can see we're the elders. He's a mere boy, subhanallah. Mr. Firdaus, Sheikh Firdaus. I knew I had to get him back for that. The answer is women. I'm not talking about polygamy again, right? But women are the key. Seriously, one of the things that we find is that 75% of the people that accept Islam in the West are women. So women need to be the da'is, and they're not at the moment, because first of all, there's like a taboo against women calling people to Islam. How crazy is that when the statistics prove that's where we have our success? We're not actually promoting enough female da'is. I'm going to tell you that now. Number one, and so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do in the UK. I have a center called the City Retreat. Now, after a lot of exposure to street da'wah in the West, we found, you know what I used to do? I used to stand well away from the guys, from the da'is, from the Muslims, and then on the other side there's the Christians, and then there's Hare Krishnas singing their songs, yeah? And I used to watch them all. And I used to watch the reaction of the crowd, because it was very important that, when you're selling a product, you have to develop the best sales methodology, right? So you ask the people. So first of all, when we started off I-Era, we got focus groups of people together and we showed them different materials. And we marked the materials according to the focus groups, marks 1 out of 10. And most of the focus groups said that the materials were lousy, they were useless. And some of the approaches, then we got them to, check those out. So the first thing is, we do need to be asking this question, right? Okay? aside from the fact that we do need to promote female women, should I say female women? I mean, that could actually be the problem, you know, as female women. We have that problem in the UK. I can't even talk about it anymore, otherwise I'll be banned from speaking in Britain, by the way. Can't talk about that issue. Yep. So first of all, we check the da'wah out because, for example, if you have a look online, you look online, yeah? And you put the search terms in you ask that Sheikh Google, you know that, the ulama, online ulama, Sheikh Google, you put in Islam, yeah? What do you get? What do you find when you put Islam into google.com? You find good things? You don't find good things, right? Okay? So we haven't even checked out our sales material and our sales approach. So we do need to be asking this question thoroughly. Myself, I have a dawah center called the City Retreat. After a lot of struggling and watching people giving dawah in the street, I decided to move away from the street. It's right for some people, it's right for some places, but in the UK, we found it to be that the people were doing V-lines. As soon as they see you, they start, they take a big liking for a shop towards the left or the right. So they disappear, yeah? So when I kept seeing this repeatedly, and I was some of the guys that were running away from, I didn't like them running away from me. So I developed a strategy known as, you know, social activism, which is what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was about anyway. It's all about being there in the town center. Now it has to be in the souk or the town center, right? Where people are doing trade, tijara. They're making trade, they're making transactions. The ultimate transaction that you're going to call them to, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah. That's what you're going to call them to, right? So in the town center, Rasulullah ﷺ used to stand on the box, in the town center, in the souk, and call the people until his face was red. So, you know, the second part of it is, the dawah center I've got is not called a masjid. It does not have domes. It does not have minarets. It does not look like a masjid. And oftentimes people come in, they say, excuse me, what do you do in here? We said, it's a community center. Come in. They come in. One guy came in the other day and he bought a copy of the Bible, Injil, and he was reading it, and we gave him the tea, we gave him the biscuits, and then we subtly just left a couple of leaflets around, and then he collected them and he left. But he was happy, he was there. Now, isn't this like Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam's masjid? Is it not? Is it not that the Bedouin went in and urinated in the masjid? He felt comfortable to go into that place. So we need to create places in a town center where they feel comfortable, which is not dressed up in Islamic, well, let's say, cultural baggage. What is a dome? Is it required? Is it a Muslim thing? No. Is it a minaret required? No. Is the star and the crescent required? No. Really, it's got very little to do with Islam. Really. What is Islam? You have to win over the hearts and minds. So you need to create and establish places and frontage and clothing and approaches, which means that they feel very comfortable to come in. So in this case, in Malaysia, it would be Malay culture, which you guys are doing, I'm sure, and it would probably be teh tarik you would invite them to. In England, it's going to be a cup of tea, old chap, and a cucumber sandwich. You know what I mean? Do you know what a cucumber sandwich? No, you don't. That's gone over their heads, man. It's gone over their heads, you know. Not beer, you know? Jug beer, not beer. Sorry, bad joke. So, guys, what you have to do is make them feel ultimately comfortable, right? So a lot of the people that come into our centers and are visiting us now, I don't talk about Islam. Funny enough, you might be saying, well, that's not calling them to Islam, Yusuf. You're probably right. But after 2 or 3 visits, they feel so comfortable, they have the tea, They have the samosa, because we have Indians, all Gujaratis in my town. We have the samosa, okay? And they leave. They come back next day, they may come back 2 weeks later, and then they start to ask you questions. What are you doing here? Are you religious? Are you this? Are you that? Then you can start engaging with them in a beautiful conversation, right? Now, another part is, of course, you have to have incredible sincerity. And it's very difficult, right? Because oftentimes you're speaking to people that are very antagonistic towards you. They're very not friendly towards you. Because already they do know you are Muslim. And so you have to develop, ultimately, first of all, you need to remember to make dua before you go and call these people. And you need to have absolute sincerity. Put all of your ego on the side, okay? And admit to the faults of the Muslims. If they come to you and they say, but I've seen you doing this, I've seen you doing this, you guys, yeah, we have. But that's got nothing to do with the message. The message is clean, we are unclean. We made mistakes, we're human. We're born in a state of weakness. You can explain this to them. This will then drop their defenses, right? So these are all about the discussions that you have. So you're creating the atmosphere, you're creating the environment to ultimately have a very open discussion with them. Oftentimes I found when you do this, they start to ask you and say the most incredible things. You know what? I think Islam's the haqq. I've had people that come, I'm pretty sure that Islam is the truth. You know? Really? Tell me more about Islam. Let them do the talking. Wallahi, it works. Don't force them to have a conversation that they don't want to have. But let them find a way in. You know what they call this? The salesman, he puts his foot in the door. So when the guy, he sees the salesman, he closes the door, but your foot is in the door, so he can't close it. So he has to open it up again. I'll just end it with a little story. We went, there's a man called Abdullah Quilliam. Henry William Abdullah Quilliam. In Britain, he's one of the first reverts to embrace Islam in Britain. In 1887, he embraced Islam. And he established a masjid in 1889 and in Liverpool. And he called the not yet Muslims in Victorian Britain when it was impossible. If you said you were anything but a Christian, right, you were basically lynched. You would have been killed, You would have been put in prison. It's like apostasy, major issue, right? So what happened, that this first couple of days he was giving dawah, one guy followed him back to the masjid, right to the gate of the masjid, and he said, look, I'm convinced what you're saying is true, but I need to ask you, what do I need to do to become Muslim? He said, well, you say this stuff. It's just this declaration of faith, yeah? And then after that, it's fine, but there's one problem. He said, I am the only Muslim in Liverpool. I need 2 male witnesses. He said, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be the witness for the other, he's sufficient as a witness, and the guy took shahada. Now, then after that, around 600 to 700 people embraced Islam because of his da'wah. It was very simple, it was activism, it was in the town center, it was making people feel comfortable, it was all about, on Sundays, they used to get the Christian hymns, and they used to have he used to have an organ, right? I'm not saying we should go around with organs, right? So before everyone shoots me down in flames, right? I know this is a music big issue, right? But so he's got the organ, and he takes the Christian hymns, and he makes them full of tawhidi statements, And then he's playing these things, and they're coming on Sunday to worship Allah, and they don't even know it right now. And after time, they started to embrace Islam, and they come on Friday instead. I want you to understand, you have to normalize Islam in your society. You have to make it so normal that they just think that there's not really much change. And by the way, it's just their fitrah you're calling to. You see? Now, the last bit of this story. I went to the second masjid that was ever built in Liverpool in 1955, Masjid Al-Rahmah. You'll laugh about this. With the name. A name like that, you think, wow, plenty of dawah going on there, brothers, yeah? I knocked on the door of the neighbor of the first house next to, because the neighbors, 40. You've got 40 this side, 40 this side, according to the ulama, in the definition of the neighbor, in the deen of Islam. And you know, I knocked on the door to give her a gift, to invite her to the masjid. She opened the door, she said, what's the problem? I said, look, we're from next door. She went to close the door. Wallahi, she went to close the door. I had to put my foot in the door, yeah? And she said to me, are you from that place that keeps me awake half the night? The one that chants all night? I said, oh, wait, dear, my dear, please. Well, please, let's talk about this. If they disturbed you, I'm going to go and tell them. And, you know, we had that conversation, and I asked her one question. I said, look, have you ever been invited next door? Do you really know what they're doing? You know what she said? No. I said, how long you have been here for? She said, 30 years. 30 years. Ajib. That for 30 years, the neighbor of the house of Allah, she's never been visited. From Abdullah Quilliam, who's a revert to the deen of Islam, I want you to look at this, to Masjid al-Rahmah. The approach is clear, the definition is clear, the way of giving dawah is clear, it's all described by the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We need to go back to the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in giving dawah, calling our brothers and sisters who are not yet Muslim, like Sheikh Hussein Yi, may Allah bless him and have mercy on him. He's coming back from Hajj, inshallah, has always instructed us. May I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to, he has, yeah. He's instructing us to return to that methodology. Allahu alam wa assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Put our hands together for Yusuf Chamber, Brother Yusuf Chamber. Alhamdulillah. Some of the points, sedikit penjelasan tadi mungkin nanti Brother Firdaus boleh terangkan, ya, insyaAllah. InsyaAllah. Okay, seterusnya yang tidak asing lagi, Brother Firdaus Wong, ya, ini first time saya bersama dengan Firdaus, betul lah?
Bersama
maksudnya,
di atas pentas.
Di atas pentas lah, bukan bersama lain. Masya-Allah. Alright, soalan seterusnya seperti di sini, ya, ada tak kita di sini, berapa ramai di sini yang dah start menyampaikan Islam di kawasan atau pada keluarga kita sendiri? Cuba angkat tangan. Ada? Mesti ada cabaran dia dan sebagainya, betul tak? Ya, so hari ini kita nak tanya pula kepada Brother Firdaus Wong, apakah itu hikmah dalam dakwah? Kadang-kadang kita menyampaikan dakwah kan kepada keluarga kita, kepada kawan kita, kita cuba macam-macam cara, betul tak? Macam-macam cara kita buat, kita tunjukkan dengan akhlak, kita baik dengan mereka, kita senyum pada mereka, macam-macam kita buat. Tetapi apa jadi? Mereka masih belum menerima Islam, betul tak? Tetapi kita nak tanya lagi sekali, ya, apakah itu hikmah dalam dakwah? Walaupun mereka dah menyampaikan, ya, belum menerima Islam dan sebagainya, ya, dipersilakan Brother Firdaus.
Baik. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Amma ba'd. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Kepada sahabat moderator, masya-Allah, iaitu sahabat Roger, panelis pertama Haji Ayub yang Suite 27, dan juga Sir Yusuf Chambers yang baru 28 tahun, dan saya paling muda 14 tahun, alhamdulillah. Jadi assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh sahabat semua. I think they are sleepy. I think they are sleepy. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Baik. Saya cuba nak ringkaskan sedikit apa yang telah disebutkan oleh Sir Yusuf Chamber. You see, I'm making you sir now. You see, is a doa.
Does it mean that I get extra money?
I'm not sure. Then you have to ask Zamri either you're going to have extra money by calling you sir. So insyaAllah we can lobby for that insyaAllah.
Okay.
Sebab benda baik, saya cuba ringkaskan apa yang disebutkan tadi, iaitu tentang tak apa, okey, mereka pun nak bergembira juga. Itu pentas mereka. No problem. Biar dia nak golek-golek, bagi dia golek. Okey, no problem. Yang penting dia jangan pergi pegang speaker. Takut speaker tu nanti dia goyang kepala. Habis. Okey, baik. Ada beberapa perkara yang Sir Yusuf Chamber dia sebut, iaitu tentang metodologi dakwah yang efektif, kerana disebut di negara barat 75% yang memeluk Islam adalah wanita. Jadi maka itu dia menyeru bahawa wanita ini seharusnya lebih aktif terlibat dalam dakwah. Sebab 75% yang memeluk Islam di barat adalah perempuan. Yang kedua adalah apabila kita berurus niaga, apabila kita bekerja dan sebagainya, kita jujur, kita amanah. Yang ketiga, terlibat dalam aktiviti-aktiviti kebajikan. Kerana ada kalanya, macam apa yang Haji Ayub sebut juga, Haji Ayub ni saya ingat banyak cerita dia. Antaranya tadi saya cakap dengan dia, iaitu dia ada 2 anak. Anak pertamanya nama Moses. Anak keduanya nama Jesus. Betul? Dan dia pernah cerita, anak dia, bila dia di airport, dia call dalam on the phone. Dan dia cakap English lah. Hi Moses, hi Jesus, how are you? Jadi orang yang lalu tu pelik. Tunggu dia. This guy is insane. He's speaking to Jesus and Moses. Tapi dia tak tahu Moses dengan Jesus tu anak dia. Lepas dia dah habis hang up, dia kata, "Sir, excuse me. You really do speak to Moses and Jesus?" Dan dia dengan confident, "Yes, of course, I speak to Moses and Jesus." Oh my God, hallelujah. Can you pray for me? Dan dia tak sebut je lah, Moses tu nama anak dia, Jesus tu nama anak dia. Nama anak dia Moses dan Jesus. Tapi, maksudnya apa yang disebut oleh Yusuf Chamber tadi ialah kita kena terlibat dalam kebajikan. Kerana ada kalanya mereka yang berada di luar bandar, mereka tak nampak dan tak pernah baca Quran. Jadi mereka nak lihat Quran menerusi amalan dan perbuatan kita. Dan dari situ barulah mereka terbuka untuk mengetahui lebih lanjut tentang Quran itu sendiri. Dan yang keempat yang beliau ceritakan ialah tentang keikhlasan kita dalam berdakwah. Baik, itu saya simpulkan supaya bagi kita mudah faham. Tadi saya terasa macam misteri Nusantara sikit. Banyak sangat asap. Sekarang okey sikit dah. Baik, bila kita sebut tentang hikmah, maka antara ayat yang sering kali kita dengar dan antara ayat yang sering kali kita baca ialah surah An-Nahl, surah ke-16 ayat 125. Ud'u illa sabili rabbika bil hikmah wa mau'izati hasanah wajadilhum billati hiya asan. Serulah manusia ke jalan Tuhanmu dengan hikmah. Wa mau'izati hasanah, beautiful speech, perkataan yang baik. Wajadilhum billati hiya asan, dan berdebatlah dengan baik. Persoalannya, apa itu hikmah? Sebab kerap kali kerana perkataan hikmah ini, maka kita sesama pendakwah kita bergaduh. Dan untuk sahabat-sahabat mu'alaf, walaupun yang ada di sini juga termasuk yang bukan mu'alaf tetapi mukalaf, kena dengar elok-elok. Kerana kita kena tahu kita ada satu tugas nak sampaikan Islam itu sendiri. Apa itu hikmah sebenarnya? Adakah hanya satu cara sahaja untuk berdakwah di dalam Islam? No. Ada 2 perkara yang saya nak kongsi tentang belapang dada dulu. Satu tentang dada, iaitu belapang dada. Bila dalam dakwah, kita kena berlapang dada. Tahu tak apa itu belapang dada? Tahu ke tak tahu ni? Kita berlapang dada, supaya kita berlapang dada, kita boleh menerima perbezaan antara kita, perbezaan dari segi approach sesama kita. Sebab setiap orang pendekatan dia sama ke berbeza? Berbeza. Satu tentang dada ialah berlapang dada. Yang kedua adalah jangan mendabik dada. Kenapa jangan mendabik dada? Jangan mendabik dada kata, my way is the only way. Who are you? Highway ada. Tak boleh kita kata my way is the only way. Any way that other than my way is wrong way. Proof. Quran dan Sunnah mana? Tak ada. Ruangan dakwah untuk approach, untuk pendekatan kita sebenarnya sangat luas. Jangan kita sempitkan sesuatu yang luas. Boleh faham maksud saya? Baik. Saya kongsikan apa itu hikmah supaya kita faham dan kita boleh amalkan dalam dakwah kita. Pertama, perkataan yang sesuai. Perkataan yang sesuai. Apa yang dimaksudkan dengan perkataan yang sesuai? Bayangkan, kalau kita pergi mendekati jiran kita, saudara kita, sahabat kita yang dia mungkin tak pandai bahasa Melayu ataupun mungkin bahasa Arabnya memang tak tahulah. Berapa ramai di kalangan kita yang sebelum Islam pandai bahasa Arab? Tak pandai. Bila kawan kita cakap insya-Allah, apa kita terfikir? Bila kawan kita cakap insya-Allah, contoh je lah. Kalau dia kata dia janji dengan kita pukul 3 dia nak datang, dia jawab insya-Allah. Pukul berapa dia sampai? Yelah, lambat tu pukul berapa? Lambat sangat. Pukul berapa? Ya Allah, tak jawab langsung. 5. Tapi ada kalanya tak sampai kan? Yes. Jadi, kita bila dalam berdakwah, antara hikmah ialah perkataan yang sesuai, iaitu perkataan yang mereka boleh faham. Kerana kena faham, bila kita berdakwah, bila kita berkhutbah, bila kita menyampaikan Islam, tujuannya ialah supaya orang itu faham message, bukan tunjuk pandai kita berbahasa Arab. Mungkin kita fasih beberapa bahasa, okey je. Kita tengok keadaan. Kalau dengan kanak-kanak, perkataan apa yang kita nak guna tentang syurga? Takkan kita nak cakap dengan anak kita yang 4-5 tahun, anak, solat tau, jaga elok-elok solat tau. Sebab awak jaga solat, insya-Allah masuk syurga dapat bidadari. Anak 4-5 tahun tu faham apa bidadari? Yang dia faham, babi doll yang kakak adik perempuan dia main. Dia tak mau benda tu. Tapi bila bercakap dengan anak-anak, cakap dengan dia, okey, kamu jadi muslim yang baik, kamu belajar, kamu solat, kamu jaga agama Islam, insya-Allah bila masuk syurga, kamu nak tengok boy tiap-tiap hari pun tak apa. Boleh ke tak boleh? Bukankah di syurga kamu akan dapat apa yang kamu minta? Cakaplah, kamu nak tengok Upin dan Ipin, boleh ke? Boleh. Mengikut perkataan. Perkataan kena tengok orang itu. Dan kalau boleh, bila dalam berdakwah, jangan gunakan perkataan yang terlalu bombastik. Tahu bombastik? Oh, Mr. Lover. Ini kaki rock lah, patutlah botak dia. Ini kaki rock ni. Baik. Bombastik maksud di sini ialah bukan yang terlalu orang kata, wow, perkataan yang berputar belik. Bukan. Tetapi maksud saya perkataan bombastik di sini ialah bila kita rasa seseorang, contoh, prospek kita, dia cakap sesuatu yang menjadikan kita suka, maka biasanya kita akan cakap apa? Masya Allah. Betul ke? Kita faham Masya Allah. Yang dengar tu, dia faham tak apa itu Masya Allah? Dia mungkin faham, ayo, saya cakap benda, dia cakap ada masalah. Masalah. Kita cakap Masya Allah, dia faham? Masya Allah. Bila kita cakap, okey, sir, insya Allah, dia mungkin ada pengalaman buruk dengan kawan dia, dia ingat insya Allah itu, ini orang tak buat punya. Mungkin. Jadi kena gunakan perkataan yang sesuai dengan madu'u kita. Dia bukan pertandingan siapa pandai Arab. Saya bagi contoh terakhir sebelum pergi kepada contoh seterusnya. Andai kata ada orang datang bercakap dengan kita, dia kata, you orang kan kata solat ni bagus. Bila you solat, Tuhan tolong. Bila you solat, bagus, semua baik dan sebagainya. Lu tengok saya. Itulah orang yang kita nak dakwah tu. Dia kata, you tengok saya. Saya tak ada sembahyang, saya bukan Islam. Saya minum, saya makan itu kinzir ngoy-ngoy. Saya judi. Itu barang yang you orang Islam cakap haram ah, semua saya bikin. Tapi lu tengok wang banyak kaya. Lu tengok wang banyak happy. Lu tengok wang tiap-tiap bulan pergi overseas. Apa macam? Kita dah tahu jawapan. Lalu jawapan kita bagi jawapan paling bombastik, angka. itu adalah istidraj Allah ke atas kamu. Dia faham tak apa itu istidraj? Tak faham. Kita yang dah lama Islam pun ada kadang-kala kita tak faham apa itu istidraj. Tapi kita confident je. Istidraj Allah ke atas kamu. Itu apik pun. Bila muka dia macam ni, kita fikir sudah menang. Tengok dia tak boleh jawab aku. Memang tak boleh jawab, dia tak faham. So perkataan yang sesuai. Kedua, pada masa yang sesuai. Bilakah masa yang bersesuai untuk dakwah? Bila masa? Jawablah saya. Panas ni. Hari Jumaat? Orang Islam ni tak ada malam Jumaat, hari Jumaat. Apa kena mengena dengan korang? Hari Jumaat je boleh berdakwah. Bila? Masa apa yang terbaik untuk dakwah? Masa makan? Tak boleh. Masa makan you nak makan. Tak kenyang. Saya bagi apa? Masa kopi-kopi. Kalau you belanja tak apa. Begini. Masa terbaik untuk berdakwah, masa yang paling sesuai ialah kena faham. Kita kena ada satu mood, auto mood, iaitu every moment is a dakwah moment. Setiap masa adalah masa untuk berdakwah. Saya bagi contoh, Brother Shah, saya banyak travel dengan dia, Masya Allah. Dan kalau kami travel pergi Afrika, walaupun kami pergi 8 orang kadang-kadang, kami tak pernah ambil seat satu row ni sama-sama duduk sekali. Tak ada. Kami akan seorang ambil sana, seorang ambil sana, seorang ambil sana, borak. Dan ada kalanya kami pakai t-shirt Muslim love Jesus and Muhammad. Bila kami duduk begitu, masa yang sesuai mungkin kita kata, dalam flight ni sesuai ke? Tapi berapa kali dalam flight Brother Shah dia berdakwah dengan orang sebelah tu. Orang sebelah tu tengok dia. Lepas tu Brother Shah dia pun cakap dengan orang tu. Dia kata Muslim love Jesus. Dari situ dia mulakan. And that is a moment you berdakwah. Ada banyak momen untuk berdakwah. Saya bagi contoh. Ada seorang mak rempit Hindu. Mak rempit Hindu. Dia merempit. Last dia accident. Kawan-kawan Hindu dia yang sama merempit dengan dia lari. Datanglah mak rempit Melayu. Mak rempit Melayu datang tolong dia. Dan kerana asbab mak rempit Melayu tu tolong dia, Hindu tu masuk Islam. Mak rempit pun berdakwah. Ada tak masa yang sesuai? Masa yang sesuai, tengok Nabi Nuh, dia berdakwah kepada kaumnya siang dan malam, terpulang. Janganlah waktu orang tengah sedih, baru kematian isteri, suami, family dan sebagainya, kita kata padan muka dia masuk neraka. Bukan. That is not the right time. Right time tu jelah anytime. Mungkin kadang-kadang tengah makan, dia nak minta nasihat. Waktu itu boleh berdakwah. Dia kena lihat keadaan. Kadang-kala tak semestinya waktu pagi. Sebab pagi kawan kita sibuk. Dia mungkin free waktu malam. Jadi bila waktu malam, baru kita berdakwah. Dan masa yang sesuai ialah, kalau kawan tu tengah main phone, nak bercakap ke? Biasanya dia kata, you cakap lah. Saya dengar ni, saya dengar. Jangan cakap. Sebab bila bercakap, dia tengah main phone, dia dengar tak? Dia dengar, tapi tak faham. Bila awak dah habis, boleh ke? Dia kata, sekejap. Dia letak phone. Apa yang boleh? Kita dah cakap berpuluh-puluh minit, lepas tu dia kata dia tak faham. Jangan cakap intipati yang penting sehingga orang itu memberikan tumpuan kepada kita. Boleh jelas ke? Jadi perkataan yang sesuai, pada masa yang sesuai, di tempat yang sesuai. Bro and sis, tempat yang sesuai tu, macam-macam tempat yang sesuai. Tetapi ada tempat yang tak sesuai. Contohnya, kita duduk dekat toilet ni, kawan kita duduk sebelah. Waktu tu kan kita nak berdakwah? Bro, you buat big business kah? Boleh borak sikit kah bro? Nak borak apa dalam toilet? That is not the time. Ada orang kata, kita kena berdakwah dekat kelab. Saya nak tanya, sebelum kita masuk Islam, siapa yang pernah pergi kelab angkat tangan? Seorang je ke? Oh, semua ni tak pernah pergi kelab lah. Tak apa, jangan angkat tangan, tak apa. Saya tukar soalan. Sebelum masuk Islam, siapa yang pernah pergi kelab, jangan angkat tangan. Tengok, semua pernah. Semua confused. Apa mau? Dalam pub, dalam kelab, you boleh berborak kah? Boleh berborak kah? Itu bukan borak, itu je dah. Oi, oi, oi. Dia, apa. Jangan cakaplah, minum. Itu bukan waktu berdakwah. Tempat yang tak sesuai, kena faham. Okay? Now, tapi sebenarnya ada juga cara lain. Dakwah bihal dengan akhlak kita pun boleh. Yang keempat ialah dengan kadar yang sesuai mengikut pemahaman orang itu. Kadar yang sesuai. Contoh, ibu-ibu bila masak, makanan tu letak garam tak? Letak berapa kilo? Ikut cukup rasa. Sama juga dalam berdakwah. Ikut kadar, cukup masa. Cukup rasa. Berapa cukup rasa, you sendiri pandai merasa. Sebab itu, masakan Melayu dengan masakan India, masakan Cina, selalunya dia ada menu kat situ tau. Garam nak letak berapa? Biasanya dalam menu dia tulis secukup rasa. Kalau Mak Saleh, dia akan kata 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoon, betul ke? Tapi Melayu, India, Cina, kita orang Nusantara, kita Malaysian, dia kata secukup rasa. Berapa rasa? Tengok. Kalau pergi dekat Kelantan, tom yum dia yang sepatutnya pedas pun ada manis. Lemak cili api dia yang sepatutnya lemak cili api pedas, dia boleh jadi manis. Saya baru balik dari Kelantan minggu lepas. Saya order TO kosong suam. Tahu tak apa itu TO kosong? Maksudnya tak ada gula kan? Saya order TO kosong suam, sekali dia sampai, dia punya gula ini macam banyak. Kalau kosong pun ini macam banyak, kalau biasa berapa banyak? Saya tak boleh salahkan dia, sebab itu dia punya rasa, bukan rasa saya. Boleh faham maksud saya? Sebab itu kita kena tengok prospek dakwah kita, siapa orang itu, berapa banyak yang dia boleh terima pada waktu itu. Lihat, Nabi SAW bila dia berdakwah, dia mengajar para sahabat radhiyallahu anhum pada hari Khamis saja. Sehingga kan sahabat rasa, ya Rasulullah, kami boleh lebih lagi lah, bagi lagi banyak kelas. Nabi kata, bukan aku tak boleh ajar banyak, tapi berapa banyak yang kamu boleh faham dan berapa banyak yang kamu sempat amal. So, ikut kadar yang sesuai. Last kali, kena ada keutamaan. Bila berdakwah, apa yang paling utama kita ajak? Apa yang paling utama? Kita ajak I ask them, what is the first thing that we call people to in dakwah? We invite them to Assalamualaikum. you know, in Chinese, for the Hokkien, sometimes they make joke about Assalamualaikum. Yeah. No. They will say Assam Mo Lo Kong. You see, they are laughing. Assam Mo Lo Kong meaning, in Chinese, in Cantonese, mean Assam, which means that auntie Mo Lo Kong, no husband. But sometimes in Hokkien, they will change it and say, Assalamualaikum wa salalem mai kong. If I'm wrong, you don't tell people. And then when they say Waalaikumsalam, they make joke, they make fun. In which we used to last time before we become Muslim. When they say Waalaikumsalam, wa salalem mai kong lo. Assalamualaikum wa salalem mai kong, le salawa mai kong lo. Maksudnya, meaning, when I'm wrong, you don't tell people. When you're wrong, I also don't tell people. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. No, dalam dakwah, the first thing yang kita ajak orang ialah La ilaha illallah. Bukan tanya, uncle lah, lu mau masuk Islam first thing mau potong dulu. Itu uncle dia sekarang mau pergi kencing bilik air pun kadang-kadang terkencing. Lu mau suruh dia potong, dia kata potong mau pakai apa? Saya dulu sebelum masuk Islam, kawan saya takutkan saya, dia kata, Wong lu mau masuk Islam potong, tapi tak apa, potong itu berbaloi, lu boleh kahwin 4, dia cakap. Saya fikir sudah potong kahwin 4 pun apa guna? Sebab dia bukan tunjuk sikit, dia tunjuk potong habis. Ada siapa pernah kena tak? Bila masuk Islam saya, sebelum kamu syahadah, kena tunjuk CJ sudah potong ke belum. Kalau saya tunjuk CJ, dia tak percaya, apa mau buat? Lu tangga seluar. Ada mu'alaf pernah cerita.
Dia nak masuk Islam kena tunjuk CJ potong. Masa nak kahwin, dia kena tunjuk CJ dia dah potong tak boleh nikah. Apa punya? Tak, the first thing yang kita ajak ialah tauhid dulu. Ajak dia kepada la ilaha illallah Muhammad dan Rasulullah. Dan hadis ini menjadi penutup kepada soalan saya, iaitu Nabi SAW mengutuskan Muaz ibn Jabal ke Yaman dalam riwayat Bukhari. Dan Nabi bagi tahu pesanan kepada Muaz, ya Muaz, engkau akan mendatangi ahlu kitab, maka perkara pertama yang harus engkau seru mereka adalah asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Tauhid dulu, syahadah dulu. Selepas mereka setuju, bagi tahu kepada mereka solat 5 waktu adalah wajib. Setelah mereka buat, maka bagi tahu mereka puasa di bulan Ramadan wajib. Selepas mereka dah buat, bagi tahu kepada mereka zakat itu wajib. Selepas mereka dah buat, bagi tahu haji itu adalah wajib. Macam untuk kita mualaf, kalau tak mampu nak solat 5 waktu, sekurang-kurangnya jangan tak solat langsung. Kalau kita lewat, solat juga. Belajar apa yang mampu. Macam tadi Prof Ridwanti kata, pelan-pelan lah. Yang penting kita belajar. Sama juga bila berdakwah, masukkan tauhid dulu. Jangan kata, lu masuk Islam, lu kena pakai tudung. Lu masuk Islam, mau potong. Lu masuk Islam, ini mau buat. Siapa mau buat? Allah pun dia tak kenal. Sebab itu disebut bahawa awaluddin makrifatullah. Awal-awal agama adalah kenal Allah. Ya? Wallahu alam untuk soalan peringkat pertama.
Alhamdulillah, terima kasih kepada Brother Firdaus Wong. Banyak yang kita dapat hari ini ya daripada bro. Alhamdulillah. Yang satu saya dapat tangkap, biasanya lah bila saya memeluk agama Islam pun, bila kita cakap insya-Allah kan, kadang-kadang orang tanya kita, betul tak? Dia tanya insya-Allah ni betul ke tak betul kan? Ni betul ke tak betul lah. Sampai tahap macam tu. Dan lagi satu saya ingat, saya juga nak komen pasal tadi Brother Firdaus bagi tahu masuk Islam kena potong ini biasa berlaku kan. Bila kita sahabat kita menyampaikan Islam pada dia, first thing dia cakap, masuk Islam saya mau potong dulu kan. So ini biasanya berlaku. Okey, kita sebenarnya running out of time. Sebenarnya sepatutnya kita habis pukul 11, tapi kita buat sedikit rumusan, mungkin 5 minit. Cumanya saya nak panelis untuk 5 minit yang terakhir ni yang kita beri kepada setiap panelis untuk menghuraikan sedikit. Mungkin bila masanya kita ni seorang dai, kadang-kadang kita nak menyampaikan dakwah, kadang-kadang kita nak sampaikan dakwah, kita memang positif nak sampaikan dakwah, tetapi ada bila masanya nak tentukan yang kita bersedia untuk menyampaikan dakwah. Bila sebenarnya? Adakah kita kena belajar semua, lepas tu baru menyampaikan dakwah, ataupun kita ada belajar fardu ain saja, kita dah tahu metodologi dan kita menyampaikan dakwah? Dipersilakan Haji Ayub.
Thank you very much, brother. When I first started Dakwah, I had not attended any program Dakwah training in Islamabad, Pakistan, or also in Mumbai, India. So what I did was, I told the people whom I visited in the rural areas with my mobile medical clinic, you know, we Muslims, when you say all religions same, all religion don't ask to do bad things, we are not supposed to steal, we are not supposed to take other people's wife, all religions same. I told him, no, that is part. But Islam is the only religion that say we worship only one God. You cannot have 2 gods or 3 gods. Kita tidak boleh adakan Trinity. Perkataan Trinity pun, saya dulu pernah belajar Bible dekat London, Mill Hill Missionary Institute. Tidak ada perkataan Bible in the entire Old Testament or New Testament. Tidak ada. Dalam Bible Katolik yang saya dulu menganuti agama mazhab Kristian Katolik tidak ada. Dalam Protestant Bible pun tidak ada. Dan baru-baru ini saya jumpa orang Mormon. Dekat Sarawak banyak Mormon datang dari Amerika Syarikat. Bible yang mereka beri kepada saya pun tidak ada perkataan Trinity ataupun 3 in 1. But is it in the Holy Quran? Trinitas ataupun Trinity? Dalam Quran ada. Surah An-Nisa, surah nombor 4 ayat 171, very clearly it states, jangan sebut Trinitas. Do not say Trinity. So which means it's a very important message to give. Besides Tauhid, telling the people whom we want to talk about Islam, we have to clarify. And the one other thing that I have been doing recently, after the new latest mosque was built in Sarawak, I take time whenever I'm free, especially Sundays, to go to the mosque because banyak pelancong datang mau tengok masjid yang baru. Itu masjid terapung dekat Sungai Sarawak. One Friday, many people did not come. I saw crocodile coming. Even crocodile like to come to our masjid. But lucky they were only down lah. They could not climb up the stairs. So I decided to bring these visitors, these foreigners, non-Muslims, to show them what is inside this new mosque. Actually, I wanted to go for mosque tour guiding course, but unfortunately the reply came, I am too old, 27, they said too old, cannot. So I did not give up. Saya coba. Saya bawa orang Jerman. Saya bawa mereka ke masjid yang baru dan saya tanya, apa you mau tengok dalam masjid? Dia mau tengok gambar. Gambar Nabi, gambar the creation, macam-macam gambar. Itu anggapan dia sebab masjid cantik dari luar, cukup cantik. So I bring them inside, but before that saya beritahu dia kalau orang Islam masuk ke dalam masjid untuk sembahyang, kami ambil wudu. So outside the masjid ada tab. So I buka, I basuh tangan, basuh muka, basuh kepala, basuh kaki dan masuk ke dalam masjid baru ini. Mereka pun ikut. Apabila mereka ikut, dia tanya, kami pun mau ikut ke sembahyang. Tidak, you just come as visitor. Saya mau sembahyang 2 rakaat. Ataitul masjid. Saya buat. But because I pray in bahasa Arab, they don't understand. Later I bring the Quran. In this new mosque, they have several copies of the Quran. And I bring one. I'm not very great in bahasa Arab, walaupun sudah 27 tahun. So what I do is, I can hafal 4 kul, itu bolehlah, insyaAllah. So I baca 3, dari 4 kul 3 I baca dalam bahasa Arab. And every time I read word for word, sentence for sentence, I translate into bahasa German because in that masjid they don't have German copy of the Quran. So I translate. They listen. Wow, they say, great lah this book. You mean this man who never went to school wrote the book? I said, that man never went to school, don't know how to read and write. So what happened was, he received message and he recite. People write down. 114 chapters. For those who are Christians, let me tell you, there's a lot of good things about Jesus mentioned in this holy book. They were surprised. They are Germans. They have been there for so long, and there are a lot of Germans in Germany. They don't know that the Holy Quran mentions Jesus. So I told them, not one time, not 2 times, 500%. Kalau banding dengan nama Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, nama Nabi Isa alaihi salam disebut 500%. They were surprised. You see, these are the only opportunity I have with these foreigners. So I perlu sampaikan just the basic. Unfortunately, I don't have a copy of the German Quran. If I have, I would gladly want to give them. Because when they go with this message, after few months, not immediate, few months, Brother Ahmad von Denver from Munich called me. Did you bring Germans to some mosque? Yeah, how do you know? They want to embrace Islam. They said, there's one fellow with those days I had long beard. He took us to a mosque and showed us, and now we have read the Quran in German. Now we want to embrace Islam. You see how Allah works in different ways. He don't do immediate. To a few months, you hear. Somebody went to see him, because I always give Islamic centers address in Cologne, in Germany, in Munich, in Hamburg. So, if they come from any of these parts and Allah is inviting them, they will make it. Don't expect today you do Dakwah, tomorrow they come, they want to embrace it. This happens, but very, very seldom. It happens sometimes, like what brother said just now. One Malay lady came to see me. She said, my boyfriend is Chinese. I want to marry him. Tapi he said, mas potong, I don't want. So I said, can I speak to your boyfriend? I went to see him. He is now a manager of a travel agency. I say, Mr. Jimmy Lim, you don't have to tell people you have to go for circumcision. You just say you went to see Haji Ayub, Clinic Bina. That's all. If they want more details, I can write letter. So he embraced Islam. I don't know whether he has already been circumcised. I don't know. But his son is now 18 years old. I just met them 2 weeks ago. You see, don't tell them Sunnah things. You see, that thing, potong one is Sunnah. You talk about wajib. Tawheed is wajib. Praying 5 times a day, step by step, not immediate. Like me, when 42 years ago, about 42 years ago when I embraced Islam. I mix up with the number now. 1970.
I thought he's 27.
No, that's when I embraced Islam. You are, okay. So, it happened to be bulan Ramadan. So I asked my godfather, Sifu Nasir Esaron, his father is my godfather, Bapa Angkat, former Chief Minister of Sarawak. So he told me, Ananda, you baru masuk Islam, puasa 1 hari, rehat 2 hari. So I thought, if you are new Muslim, you don't have to do 30 days. You fast 1 day, rest for 2 days. 4th day you fast, 5 and 6 you rest. So I did it for 5 years. Nobody corrected me, because I was not always in the country. I was in Saudi Arabia and elsewhere. So one day, when I got married 5 years after conversion, it was Ramadan. So my wife asked me, have you started puasa? Yes, long time ago. How you fast? Yeah, early morning I wake up. Then I knew that she will be angry, so I didn't want to say the rest 2 days. I just started the detail. Early morning I wake up, after drinking coffee and toast, and then I wait until evening, Maghrib time, I eat. How many days you do in 1 year? 10 days? Yeah, 20 days I rest. 1 day puasa, 2 days rest. 1 day puasa. My Bapa Angkat give me permission. He didn't tell me how many years. I thought that's for Mola, it's forever Mola. Anyway, so these are the things. When you speak to somebody new to Islam, don't tell them that one is wajib. What Allah has made sunnah, don't make it wajib. Don't. So I've been doing like this. Besides my mobile medical clinic, which I do regularly, I've been doing this. And now I am doing also visiting the sick. You know why? I used to do that as a Christian missionary. I used to visit every patient in the ward. Setiap bilik I go, because I have a card. Apa nama? I am ahli pelawat hospital Sarawak. You know, written small letters, ahli pelawat hospital. If go for medical checkup, free. But written very small, so I didn't read in the beginning.
Is it warga emas or something?
No. This is special.
Oh, this special.
This one I am allowed to check the kitchen of the hospital whether the food is okay or not taste, because I am to make a report. This letter is from the Minister of Health. I still keep it. But that one no more valid, because that was signed by the BN Minister of Health. Now time's up. Okay. That's all. If you want to know more, later our cup of coffee. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Haji Ayub. Penerangan yang cukup lengkap ya. Alhamdulillah. I think memang kita dapat sesuatu lah tentang kisah hospital tu, Masya Allah. Okay, for our closing statement, sebenarnya saya tahu masa dah sampai dah lebih pukul 11 ya. Mungkin kita akan buat closing statement from Brother Yusof Chambers. Probably we just give you 2 minutes to do a conclusion statement on when do you think our people are ready, or we as a revert are ready to to start Dakwah. Yeah, when are we ready? Yeah, when do you think that we are ready? Now we are reverts, So in your perspective, when do you think they should think they are ready to present about Dakwah?
Well, I mean, the companions were ready straight away, and you should be ready straight away if you truly are a companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And of course you are, as you're Muslims. You have everything written down, you know the model, and you have the desire. You also, one of the things that you must have is a desire to share what you have learnt in terms of your shahada. You've done your shahada, and you're acting upon your shahada, and one of the things of acting upon your shahada is to give da'wah, is to call the people who are not yet Muslim to Islam. And so that really, you are ready anyway. Even if you know, right, everyone knows, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Right? Everyone in the room, right? If you know the meaning of it, you're convicted upon it, you've memorized it, you're convicted upon it, and you know what Islam is about, really. Essentially, that is really what Islam is all about. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. That, essentially, if you know those verses and you're acting upon them, you're ready. So you're all ready. Alhamdulillah. Allah knows
All right.
best.
Thank you very much, Brother Yusof. Alhamdulillah. Okay, next, to finish it off, probably we pass it to Brother Firdaus Wong to do a closing statement on effective da'i or effective da'wah, probably, insyaAllah.
Bismillah. Baik. Manakan semua ni cakap English, saya cakap Cina je lah. No, bukan Cina. They don't allow me to speak Chinese, so I have to speak in Malay. Okay, baik. Ada kalanya kita tak nak berdakwah lagi kerana kita fikir cara kita masih belum efektif. Buang yang itu, tetapi mulakan berdakwah. Efektif tu letak kemudian. Kerana ada kalanya kita tak tahu cara mana yang terbaik, sehingga kita dah cuba pelbagai cara. Dan perlu faham, berguru dalam berdakwah, dia bukan seorang. Anda kata kita pernah menghadiri kursus dakwah A, kalau ada kursus dakwah B pun pergi juga, walaupun topiknya hampir sama. Kalau ada C pun buat, pergi juga. Tak ada masalah, kerana kesetiap mereka ada kepelbagaian yang berbeza. Jangan fikir kerana saya mungkin tak efektif, maka saya tak nak berdakwah. Tetapi mulakan berdakwah, dan insya-Allah lama-lama kita akan menemui jalan yang paling efektif, yang sesuai, secocok dengan kemampuan dan bakat kita. Yang paling penting sahabat-sahabat semua, ialah kita doakan pada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala agar menjadikan kita dan juga zuriat keturunan kita sebagai asbab manusia lain mendapat hidayah dari Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Wallahu alam. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah, itu statement penutup daripada Brother Firdaus Wong. Sekali lagi beri tepukan pada 3 panelis kita. Alhamdulillah. So kami harap ya daripada sharing tadi daripada sahabat-sahabat kita boleh mengambil balik ya ilmu-ilmu sedikit daripada mereka. So, saya suka apa yang Brother Firdaus bagi tahu ya. Kadang-kadang kita ni restrict diri kita untuk pergi untuk satu tempat untuk belajar saja. Betul tak? Ya, bila kita berdekatan dan sebagainya, cuba pergi ke beberapa tempat. Ya, mungkin macam Brother Syakirin ada, dia pun saya tengok every week brother memang buat program-program dakwah di tempat beliau. Ya, dan juga Brother Firdaus, ramai dai-dai yang menjalankan berbagai-bagai program dakwah. Ya, jadi part of them ya. Bila kita jadi part of them, insya-Allah kita bukan saja akan tambah ilmu, tetapi kita akan tambah sahabat-sahabat se-Islam kita dan track kita sebagai seorang dai. Ya, kita on track untuk menjadi seorang dai yang lagi efektif. Alhamdulillah, syukur pada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala kerana memberi peluang kepada kita berada di sini. Sekali lagi terima kasih Haji Yusof. Thank you very much Brother Yusof Chambers and also Brother Firdaus Wong. Kita akhiri, selamat malam. Kita berjumpa besok. Ya, jangan lupa besok kita ada lagi di Rivers Camp Perlis. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.